woolly and fang. Millions of years ago, the earth was always warm. All creatures, dinosaurs and others that roamed the earth enjoyed good lives. And then the earth became bitterly cold. Lakes and rivers froze solid. The snow began to fall and became so deep that it compacted, turning into massive frozen mountains called glaciers. These glaciers continued to grow and grow, and soon the earth was nearly completely covered in ice. A winter's chill, like no other, draped the earth in icy wonder. Crystalline snow blanked the earth. It was like a white rose, beautiful, but with bitterly long, cold thorns. It was the coming of the Ice Age. The dinosaurs and other creatures were unable to survive the sharp thorns of the Ice Age, but some creatures did survive. There were great bears with thick layers of fat and heavy coats of fur. There were woolly mammoths, elephant-like creatures covered in long, thick hair. Their tusks were long and curved, well suited to move chunks of ice and snow as they searched for grasses beneath the frozen ice and snow and ice. Here, too, were the might, mighty saber-toothed tigers, heavy of coat and strong of limb. They were called saber-toothed because their two upper fangs were curved like a sword or saber. They were hunters who preyed upon those creatures that lived on the edge of the glaciers. They ate anything and everything that they could catch. One of their favorite foods was the woolly mammoth. Now the mammoth may have been the tiger's favorite food, but it was also the most dangerous, for you see, the mammoths were just that mammoths. They were big and had thick hides covered by long woolly coats. Some of them weighed over a ton and could easily step on a saber-toothed tiger. More importantly, if a mammoth was mad, its long, curled tusks could be great weapons. The saber-toothed tigers contented themselves with snacking on the smaller creatures that lived on and around the Blue Ice Glacier. Still, they looked for any opportunity to have a big woolly mammoth meal. They watched for the old, the injured, and a special delicacy, the baby mammoth. One blustery cold day, colder than most others. A baby saber-toothed tiger was born in a snow cave near the heart of Blue Ice Glacier. His coat was thick and he had two large eyes. For the most part, he looked like any other saber-toothed tiger, but he had two of the longest saber teeth that you have ever seen. proudly his mother, and his father named him Fang. Coincidentally, not far away, in a snowfield on the other side of the blue ice glacier, a mother mammoth gave birth to a new calf. The calf's tusks, though tiny, showed great promise for curve and length. His ears and trunk were short, but that was to be expected. The hair that covered his body was long and thick. Truly, this mammoth would be warm on the coldest of days. His parents named him Wooly. Life was hard during this time of icy cold. There was danger anywhere on and around the glacier. There were deep crevices hidden by thin layers of delicate snow that formed false bridges. Should you choose to walk across one of these bridges, your choice could be very wrong. The bridge of snow could collapse, and you'd fall to the bottom of a deep crevice, crevice with sheer walls of ice that could not be climbed. Fang and Lily grew and also surrounded by danger. They filled their lives with adventure. They were young and full of life, and every day was a new experience. And so they slowly would charge through the drifts of snow that blanked the snowfields, exploding out on the other side. He played and played, but always under the watchful eyes of the entire herd of mammoths. Fang lived inside the ice cave and only ventured onto the slippery surface when his parents were there. No watch over him. There he would scamper and skid, chasing after a ball of hard-packed snow or stalking the shadows of his parents as they walked the ridge. The saber-toothed tigers always looked toward the snowfield and the herd of mammoths. Food was scarce on the glacier, and the thought of the meal below kept them on the prowl. They would crouch behind boulders above the field and wait for an opportunity, a chance that never seemed to come. If it was impossible, it seems to be getting even colder around the blue ice glacier. Even the hard grasses that grew beneath the snow had become scarce. The herd had moved the snow in the field from over the crest, and there was nothing left to eat. So it came to be that the mammoths had to move away from the glacier. They began a migration toward the south to find warmth and cool food. The glacier formed a mighty queue around the snowfield. The fastest way to the south would force the mammoths to climb up and over a steep narrow section of massive ice. Because of the cold and lack of food, it was a risk they had to take. Uli, being the youngest, was placed in the middle of the herd. The snow was deep, but the mammoth's feet trampled the snow into a path, making the going easy for Uli. Together as one, they moved up from the snowfield and onto the blue ice glacier. As they started down the other side, they realized there was something watching from the cliffs above. The scent of the saber-toothed tiger was heavy in the air. The mammals in the lead began swinging their massive tusks from side to side while trumpeting a challenge to the hunters above. But food had been very scarce for the saber-toothed tigers, and they knew that their only source of food was migrating. With a rolling roar that shattered the stillness of the day, they attacked. They leaped from the rocks, hoping to frighten the herald into scattering to make the weak more vulnerable. The weakest, the milk they thought was in the middle. It was the small mammoth named Uli. As one that the herd began to run, Uli stumbling along, his ears extended in fear. The large cat charged, leaping onto the back of one of the older females at the back of the running herd. She bellowed in anger and pain, fleeing from the safety of the herald. Uli knew that voice was his mother. He turned toward the sound and ran out of the safety of the herald. Just as the group thundered across the snow bridge above deep crevasse,